Welcome to the Patriots lab, where we ain't even trying to, we make them liberals mad. Cause freedom of speech is what us individuals have. It's the gift when we gab, talking about things that the brainwash cannot mentally grasp, like staying loud and waving our American flags. This is for the free thinkers, wearing their MAGA and wearing the cags. Draining the swamp is the ultimate goal, but the sheeple will swear it's a fad, like it's just a phrase. But when we show them the facts, the fools got nothing to say, and deep government state wanna get up in our face, but hasn't done it yet cause Trump's in the way, trying to protect us from a troublesome fate. And because of that, we'll never lose our faith, plus God keeping us cool and safe. But I still hope we get 4 more years so we could throw a huge parade. I can see it now, Patriots on a float, and POTUS will go down in history as one of the GOATs for making the swamp pay for taking every one of his votes. His enemies are the cancer, whether or not Trump give him the smoke. Now relax, sit back and take notes as we kick facts with the homie Ray though. Speak your mind in the Patriots lab. It's freedom time in the Patriots lab, where we ain't even trying to, we make them liberals mad. I said speak your mind in the Patriots lab. It's freedom time in the Patriots lab, where we not even trying to, we make them liberals mad. I said, speak your mind in the Patriots lab. It's freedom time in the Patriots lab, where we not even trying to, we make them liberals mad. Speak your mind. It's freedom time. Without even trying to, we make them liberals mad.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Good, great afternoon, people, patriots, whoever you consider yourself to be. Let me make sure I got my microphone working and my sound is up. And we are in for a great Friday. Call it what you want, morning coffee, afternoon coffee, depending on where you're at, on the East Coast or on the West Coast. It's 9 o'clock on the West, 12 o'clock on the East. And remember, like, share, subscribe, ring that bell so you can get them instant notifications. Also, I want to welcome today Facebook, both groups, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, now known as X, Rumble, MeWe, and Twitch. Okay, just wanted to make sure I had all the platforms in here today. And Tina McGregor, tell my brother Matt I said hello. Danny Walsh, good afternoon. And we're going to have a good one today. And also, let me put this up. For my YouTubers, y'all remember, keep it clean. But I'm going to go ahead and put the link up for those who want to come into the live show today. We're going to be in here a while today, I do believe, because I got a couple of things I want to get off my chest. But before we get started into that, I hope everybody had a safe and blessed Thanksgiving. I know I'm a little late. I'm behind the 8 ball. Just making sure I'm getting everything in here properly. Going to my satisfaction. Let me see. Where do we want to go? No, that's not it. All right. So we'll do it like this. We'll start off with that before I get in the news. I'm going to give people a little bit of time to get in here. So y'all keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. Once I get a couple of eyeballs up in here, we're going to get into today's show. But everybody knows how I get down. I got to get prepared. Who's in the building today? Danny Welsh, good afternoon. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. We're going to cover different angles of January 6th. We're going to talk about all the crazy back inside stuff that's going on with the Donald Trump versus Letitia James. We're going to talk about more Biden corruption evidence coming out. We're going to talk about how the Bronx is representing for Donald J. Trump in New York City. And I tell you what, when the Bronx speaks, people listen. Because, you know, those are different kind of people up there. And you ain't expecting to hear what you're about to hear out of them people. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to commence on to the show. Let me go ahead and pause for the calls. But as we always do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into our first video. Being that I was talking about the Don and how they are just reacting. Let me see if I can get it up in here. Okay, I got it. So we're going to go ahead, without further ado, I'm going to play my first clip for this afternoon. So, video camera, go ahead and play.
The Bronx is the bluest of New York City's boroughs and the only borough with a Hispanic majority. President Biden got 83% of the vote here in 2020. But now the Biden campaign is seeing polls coming out saying President Trump is gaining traction with voters of color, even younger voters. So I came to the Bronx to put a face on the numbers, and I was shocked by what I heard on the streets. Do you think that President Biden is doing a good job with the economy?
No, he's not doing nothing to support nobody.
Was he doing a good job? Yes or no?
No. I can see we're all going to be the streets homeless.
Biden and his press secretary said that prices are going down. Is that your experience or is that not true?
No, that is definitely not true. Prices are definitely going up. I used to go across the street to Fordham to go get me a meal. I can't even get me a meal because that meant $20.
Minority communities, we're not seeing the improvement. There's inflation with everything: food, gas, insurance prices. I mean, you name it.
Bidenomics is not working. It's just a complete mess. It's a disaster, especially here in New York City. We're feeling it very hard.
If you could say anything to Biden right now, who says that the economy is improving, especially in Black and brown communities, what would you say to him?
That's lies. I believe that's lies. Heavy lies on that, for sure.
Do you think that somebody else besides Biden should be president?
Yes,
next
of course,
time?
of course. Bring back Trump.
Tell me why.
We have money. We had money when Trump was president.
Free my son Trump. Free my son Trump. Trump 2024, everybody. Trump 2024.
That's crazy. And we're here in the Bronx.
I'm gonna vote for Trump if he runs because I feel like it was much better when he was here financially for everybody, not just me, for everybody.
I'm definitely voting for Donald Trump. He made sure we had money in our pockets. He was for the people. He made sure we had what we needed. I feel like everything will go back to how it was. I mean, ever since he's been out of office, everything's declined.
When Trump was president, my life was good. Economical wise, I was doing so much better.
They're saying it's going to be Biden Trump, so who will you vote for?
Oh, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna have to go for Trump. Sorry.
I'm going to go for Trump. Trump.
How about
Always
you?
Trump.
Here, let me see. Who are you voting for?
Trump.
Feeling the pain of price hikes is one thing, but the show of open support for former President Donald J. Trump on the streets of the Bronx was very surprising. And it's the sort of thing that has Biden campaign strategists looking very carefully at the messaging around Bidenomics as we get closer to 2024.
So, as you can see, the Bronx has had enough of Joe Biden. And what I love about it is I can almost guarantee that 90% of the people that live in the Bronx voted for Joe Biden. But you know what the old saying, give me once, shame on you. Give me twice, shame on me. And these people ain't being shamed no more. So we asked the question, Bidenomics, how is that working out for your pocketbook? What did you have for Thanksgiving? Were you able to splurge like you normally do? Did you have the big 20-pound turkey? Did you have the stuffing and all the works and everything? Or were you like some people and did you have that turkey pot pie? Judith Hall, Seed Quarshi, welcome to the lab. Welcome to today's afternoon morning coffee episode. But yeah, and it's not only the Bronx. The reason I like the example of the Bronx because if the people in the Bronx are fed up with the situation, because everything has a nucleus, and I would like to think that the Bronx is the nucleus for the Democrats. No more. No more. You heard it for yourself. And these are people who are unafraid anymore to say what needs to be said. And hopefully they go out and do what needs to be done. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, ring that bell so y'all can get them instant notifications. I pick and choose when I come on the air, and I know that's not a good thing. And once things start really getting in motion, I will go ahead and start getting more regular. But it seems that everything seems to be going at the same pace of speed. So there's not too much to really cover on a daily basis that isn't nothing of a sad situation. And we have Mama Mona, aka Bug Hustler, in the building. How are you today? From Branson, Missouri.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I tore the hamstring or got an infected bruiser and I got shingles. So I'm okay.
You're a strong woman, Mama. You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be okay.
I went and got that shingles jab. Okay, about 10 years ago. And I've had shingles at least once or twice a year since then. Don't recommend it. Don't recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend any type of
You're better off to get shingles and get it bad and let it run its course. Otherwise, you get a mild case of it every 6 months or so.
Me and the wife, we was watching a Christmas special, and it was in Branson, Missouri. And the first person I thought about was you. They had over 70,000 lights in this small little town. I forgot what they call it.
Silver Dollar City.
Silver Dollar City, yes. So me and the wife said we must go to Silver Dollar City. We must go.
You need to come to Branson next year. We're going to have a huge celebration because the election will have been over on the 5th. So we hope to celebrate fantastically for the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Okay. And Silver Dollar City has their Christmas thing lights up on the 9th of November. So an evening out at Silver Dollar City and seeing all the lights is not beyond comprehension. And then you could join the convoy of honor and have that good time too. Silver Dollar City does have the most beautiful light show in the entire world. I mean, it is fabulous. They got lights dripping from trees.
I see you there, Thomas.
Hey, quick question. What exactly is the topic of this StreamYard, please?
Normally when I come on for morning coffee, we talk about everyday table issues. But normally we just talk about the current events of the day, things that have happened in the past, and things that we may think may be happening in the future. It's an open platform. Everybody's opinions and perspectives are respected. I welcome you. And basically, I don't have a title. Basically, today's title is, if you can see it, The Truth is Coming Out, but we already knew the truth. Today, we will be talking, and I will be going and showing different videos, footages of January 6th. We will be watching some James Comer and Rob Johnson interviews. Got a lot more to talk about on Donald Trump and Letitia James situation. So we'll be digging deep into a lot. I plan on being on here for a little bit, being that I pop up here periodically, which I need to stop doing and get on to a basic routine schedule. I apologize to my followers, but y'all keep liking, y'all keep sharing, subscribing, supporting. I appreciate the love. And Thomas, welcome. What's on your mind today, brother?
Okay, well, I regret to inform you that kind of topic you just said is pretty fucking boring.
Okay. Well, as you can see, this is what the Patriots Lab is all about. because everybody's entitled to their opinions. Everybody's entitled to, bring to the table what they want to bring. And nothing pleases me more than to get people like my brother Thomas to get on here and say his 2 cents and run. I love people like that. And I encourage people like that. So if you got anything you would love to say, like I said, the Patriots Lab is open platform. I do not discriminate. But if you bring the smoke, be ready for the fire. That's all I've got to say. But it was a pleasure having Thomas on here for a second. I apologize for that little interruption, Mama Mona. Go ahead, as you were saying.
You know what? I wish that some of those people had the wherewithal to, if they have an opinion that is different from ours, I'd like to hear it. And I'd like for them to present their facts and their truths. It's all, I've got an open mind. Come on, I'm not.
He had nothing to say. He had nothing to say. I gave him ample opportunity. I told him it's basically open to whatever you want to say. And basically, he said it's pretty boring. So basically, that tells you there's nothing in his head. There's nothing in his head. If I give you free reign to run and you have nowhere to run to, my brother, you're a lost cause. I gave you. I didn't put no string, nothing on you.
I just finished watching a clip of Elon Musk telling the CEO of Disney to go F himself, and got a big cheer from everybody in the crowd because they, that he said, you try to blackmail me for money. Oh, he don't care. They're going to try to take away the advertisers and this sort of thing off of Elon Musk. Well, guess what? You know what happened? Amazingly, hundreds of thousands of people have canceled their Disney Plus prescription.
If you think you can mess with a man that can pull a pen out and stroke a check for $44 billion and not bat an eye, you got another thing coming. Let's welcome back.
You need to shut the fuck up.
What's up, Pat? We got YouTubers in the building. They have nothing better to do with their time. And for those who don't know, these are called trolls. And,
No, trolls are these little bitty dolls I used to have that had all these different colored hair. That's trolls. These are idiots.
They have
uneducated. I can't say that. I can call them educated, ignorant people. Ignorance is to not be informed, and apparently they're not informed and they don't want to be. So
I don't mind them though.
No, honey, the world would be an awful place if everybody thought exactly alike, had the same opinion. That's why opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
And people like that remind us every day that they exist. It kind of helps my show. It helps my cause because people like that are a direct result of why this country is in the situation that it's in. Because rather than come on here and try to figure out how to solve a problem, they want to come on here and interject. I'm going to use a word that isn't even a word. Ignorantism. I tried to combine it.
No. To be ignorant is to be uninformed. To be stupid is to be informed and be ignorant anyway. That's called stupid. And there's no cure for stupid. Okay? A person can be ignorant of a subject, okay? Because they're simply uninformed or uneducated on that particular subject. But if they have been informed and educated and done their own research as they should, and they still want to act like that. That's what I call stupid, and there's no cure for it. But God loves stupid people too.
You got that right. I'm
Yeah.
looking for something in here. Let me go ahead. I'm trying to pull up a clip. We're going to, I guess we'll go down the J6 rabbit hole.
All right.
Let me see. Which is the first clip that we're going to have for
I'm going to turn my
January?
camera off for a minute here while you play the clip.
Okay, let me see. Did they take all of my information down? Let's see what this first clip is. I gotta, yeah, they might have did it to me. I don't know. Oh no, here we go. Let me see here. First clip is going to play, and then we're going to talk about it.
All right.
I'm not a computer. Wow. They really did it to me, Mama Mona. They won't let it go. So we will have to try it again. And they're not letting it play. I do apologize, Patriots. But
no, it just shows the dark side of things.
Well, no, this clip right here, I'm trying to get it to. I can't believe they won't give me no volume on this thing. So I'm actually going to play the clip. So let me see. They're not going to do it. But if you can see that.
I can see it, but it just plays a little and then stops, and then plays a little and then stops.
Yeah, they're not going to let me do it. So I got to get out of this one. And this is what happens, people.
Well, you do know that we're under a strong solar storm today. So expect there to be lots of glitches. Okay.
And this might be one of them because it's not letting me play. But
yeah, if it's being hit by this geomagnetic storm, it's going to screw a lot of things up today on YouTube and the internet.
Okay.
Just be expecting it. Okay. And that ain't somebody doing it. That's the hand of God doing it.
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do, because they're not giving me no volume on any of these. I'm going to back out of all of them. And that'll be the best thing for me to do. But how was your Thanksgiving?
You know, I got a read up in the paper, a big write up where I fed all the law enforcement officers Thanksgiving dinner and all the firefighters.
Uh-huh.
I fed all of Branson Police, the Taney County Sheriff's Department, the Hollister Police Department, and the Western Taney County Fire Department a beautiful Thanksgiving dinner, and all the residents here at Stagecoach RV Park. So I did a lot of cooking and had a lot of good times, a lot of fun. It was great food, great people. So I had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
I did too. I had a quiet one. Spent time with the family. I'm trying to see if I can pull up something of the latest. Yes, let's see if we can get into it. I think I'll just go with that one for now. It's not gonna let me do it. It's not gonna let me do it. Oh, I figured out what it was. I think. Oh, Sleepy Joe, he seems to still be getting by, but the walls are closing in on him.
I like the way the mainstream media, they subpoenaed Hunter Biden. He's under subpoena. He has to come and speak before Congress. But the mainstream media sounds like he voluntarily is coming to speak before Congress.
He ain't voluntary doing nothing. Let's see what the latest is on
with more House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, and House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith. Gentlemen, I apologize. It's a little shortened segment than we had planned for. Congressman Comer, this is your committee. This is 2018. A money laundering investigator warning about Hunter's unusual erratic payments from China. Why didn't anything happen?
Well, that's a great question. The bank did what it was supposed to do. The compliance officer caught it. They realized that this is a wire into what they said was a company with no known purpose, meaning it was a shell company or a fake company. And they were concerned because the politically exposed person who owned the account was the son of the former vice president of the United States. They knew through press accounts and through his ex-wife's testimony and interviews that he had a drug problem, that he was in financial trouble. So they knew that he was compromised. They knew that China did this. This is the way that China bought influence. This is the way that China compromised politicians. They would send money to compromised family members of big politicians to try to gain influence. So when they contacted the Biden staff, what was this $5 million wire? They said it was a loan. Just like what Joe Biden said, the checks that we identified he received was a loan. So the bank did what I did. They said, okay, we'll provide the loan documents. They couldn't do that, Sean. They didn't have loan documents. So the bank knew that China didn't send Hunter Biden $5 million as a loan without documentation. And then even further, they said that Hunter Biden took 58% of that in the form of fees and distributed it to various family members, including Joe Biden.
Let me ask you, Jim Jordan, this runs right in tandem with your investigation into whether the DOJ has been weaponized or politicized. We know Weiss allowed the statute of limitations to pass. We know originally he wanted no charges at all against Hunter. We know that he was going along with this sweetheart deal that got blown up by a judge in Delaware. Is this more evidence that Biden's DOJ is weaponized and they're protecting Hunter Biden?
Yeah, it is. And, remember, Sean, but for the two whistleblowers who came forward in Chairman Smith's committee, the DOJ would have probably got away with it. God bless the judge who saw the sweetheart deal, but it was Mr. Shapley and Mr. Ziegler who came forward and gave us the facts about how this whole investigation was slow-walked and what they did. But I actually think Jamie's right. The most important line in this internal bank document is the line that says China is targeting children of politicians. So this may have been a lot less than a shakedown, which John Solomon referred to. It may have been that somewhat, but it also could be going the other way. China trying to influence, because look at what China sees. They most likely knew about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden's contact and involvement with this Ukrainian energy company, and how Joe Biden went over there and leveraged our tax dollars to get the guy fired who was applying the pressure to the Burisma executives at the request of his son. So that's the scary thing here. China may have known that. China may have saw an easy target or a big target and taken this action that they did.
Let me ask you, Chairman Smith, because it also dovetails into your committee, the Ways and Means Committee. If we look at all of the issues involving taxes and of course, the statute of limitations in one case, the sheer amount of money that we have been taken in, the suspicious activity reports, the shell corporations, the tens of millions going to what James Comer has identified as 10 Biden family members. What is your committee seeing in this?
Next week, Sean, we're having those two brave whistleblowers come back before our committee. In fact, they have been giving us additional documentation that will help with this.
Blah, 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 blah. Mama Mona. Mama Mona might have left us briefly, but
we'd have been arrested. If I'd have done anything even close to that, I'd have been arrested at the first lick of a red flag in the bank.
This is what I want to know though, Mama Mona. Remember, y'all like, share, subscribe. If you want to come on to the live broadcast, just go ahead and type the link in StreamYard and come holler at you, man. Mary Hawk Webb, hello. Merlin Johnson, hello. Daryl McClain, hello. Lena Evans, hello. Joshua A. Bullock, hello. My brother Randy Rose, hello. George Santos, did you see George Santos lost his position? No, I did not. But how the hell are they going to toss him out because he claimed to be something he wasn't, and with all this other crazy stuff that's going on? But Mama Mona, my question for you, with everything that's going on, do you think there's a chance, because they got him on, even if Hunter Biden, because he's supposed to come and testify, even if Hunter Biden cops to all the business transitions, all the deals that he did with China and all these companies, and his dad had nothing to do with it, he still never registered as a foreign agent, as a person that was able to conduct business overseas like that. Remember what happened to Paul Manafort? They locked him up for the same thing, and it was less than that. Yeah. Is he going to cop to that? Are they going to?
He's going to sit there and say, "I plead the fifth. I take the fifth.
No,
I
he's
take
not.
the fifth.
He's not going to be able
I
to
take the fifth."
I mean, they got him on tax evasion, money laundering. I mean, the clip we just showed is three different areas in which they have committed illegal activities, and it doesn't even reach up to the big guy yet. It's crazy.
Well, the thing is that he'll come before Congress because he's been subpoenaed to do so. Okay. And he'll sit right there and plead the fifth to everything, delay until they can get this war off the ground and alert all the people so that we're at a full-blown third world war. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be delay until they can get this accomplished. And they're having a hard time accomplishing what they want to, but they're trying real hard. And, who knows what's going to activate the sleeper cells that they brought across the southern border and are housing and training to do just what they want them to do. You think that those fighting age men from Iran and Iraq and Palestine and Gaza and all those people that come from South Africa, you really think that they came across the border just to have a better life in America? Or are they jihadists who come here truthfully to kill all the Christians and do their ideology stuff with they're going to take us from inside? We know that the attack is going to come from within, not from without. And the thing that they have, the biggest problem they have is the American people. American people are the largest armed force in the world.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the military. Okay? Throw the military aside, and the American people are the most armed military in force in the world.
What, 380 million strong?
That's right. And out of 380 million of them, 300 million of them pack weapons with ammo.
That's right. That's right. Well, hey, before we get off topic, let me show this one last clip on the let me show this last clip so I can get off of Sleepy Joe. But I do this because this also goes from my archives, so I can have all of this actual and factual evidence and information from my archives if I ever need it. And it's repetitious and it gets old, but we have to go through it, people, patriots, whoever you consider yourself to be. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, drop your comments. What you got for us, Comer?
Joe Biden repeatedly lied to the American people about his family's corrupt influence peddling scheme and benefited from his family cashing in on the Biden name around the world. First, President Biden told the American people he never spoke to his son about his family's business dealings. That was a lie. President Biden spoke by phone, attended dinners, had coffee with his son's foreign business associates. These individuals include Russian and Kazakhstani oligarch, a Burisma executive, and a Chinese national who funneled millions to his son. President Biden claimed there was an absolute wall between his official government duties as vice president and his family, but there was no such wall. The door was wide open to his family's influence peddling schemes. But Joe Biden allowed his son to catch a ride on Air Force Two at least a dozen times to sell the Biden brand around the world. The National Archives has also identified the Office of Vice President emailed with the Biden family and their businesses over 29,000 times. However, the White House is withholding these emails from Congress in addition to the 82,000 pages of pseudonyms.
More stuff.
Pages. President Biden claimed his family didn't receive money from China, but we all know they did. President Biden's son, brother, sister-in-law, and daughter-in-law collectively received millions from CCP-linked entities. We've also revealed how Joe Biden received $40,000 in laundered China money in the form of a personal check from his sister-in-law. The White House and corporate media continue to move the goalposts as they seek to cover up for President Biden and his family.
Covering up.
Make no mistake. Financial records reveal that the Biden family enterprise is centered on Joe Biden's political career and connections.
Say it ain't so, Joe.
Joe Biden knew about, participated, and benefited from these schemes. This is a national security threat at the highest level of government, and Americans demand accountability for the Biden corruption.
We do.
Over the next 2 months, our committees will interview members of the Biden family and their associates with our lawfully issued subpoenas. No one is the law, even if your last name is Biden. Our committee will first interview and depose witnesses. We then, of course, would welcome Hunter Biden to testify at a public hearing at a future date. Democrats should have no concern with first deposing and interviewing key witnesses. This is how they conducted their impeachment inquiry of former President Trump and the January 6th committee. President Biden's pattern of lies, corruption, and obstruction demand action from Congress. We will continue to follow the facts and hold President Biden accountable to the American people. It's now my pleasure to introduce the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan.
Thank you, Jamie. This story is as old as time.
That's
we have
right.
A politician who does certain things, those actions benefit his family financially, and then there's an effort to sweep it all under the rug.
Tell him,
We
Jim.
know this has happened. The best example is to use the Ukrainian energy company Burisma. 4 key facts. Hunter Biden gets put on the board of Burisma. Fact number 1.
Right.
Fact number 2.
Right.
He's not qualified to be on the board.
Nope.
He said so himself in an ABC interview. He said he got the job because of his last name.
That's
Fact
right.
number 3. The executives at Burisma asked Hunter Biden specifically, will you weigh in with folks in D.C. to help us deal with the pressure we are under? A few days later, Joe Biden gets on a plane, flies to Kyiv, and announces that you will not get the money that was already approved unless you fire the prosecutor who was applying the pressure. That all happens. That all happens. Those key facts happen. And those facts are confirmed by some of the evidence we've uncovered already. This 1023 form, where the confidential human source told the FBI and it was reported in this form. Those are the key facts. And now it's important. We got a lot of those key facts when we interviewed one of Hunter Biden's business partners, Mr. Archer. It's important we talk to the others. We need to talk to Eric Schwerman. We need to talk to Rob Walker. We need to talk to Tony Bobolinsky. And we are in conversations with their lawyers, and we think those are going to happen. And we need to talk to Jim Biden, who is also in business with Hunter Biden. Those things need to happen. And then, as the chairman just said, as Chairman Comer just said, we will have Hunter Biden in a deposition. And frankly, I think in an open hearing, I think that would be great. That's what needs to happen so the American people get the facts, get the truth, and we can make a decision on how we move forward as a conference. With that, I would recognize the chairman from the Ways and Means Committee, Mr. Smith.
Next, more
Thank you all
evidence.
for being here today. Thank you, Chair Stefanik, for having us. Most Americans, they work hard to provide for their families.
Yes, we do.
They follow the law. They pay their taxes.
Most of us.
But the Biden family has been playing by different rules.
Yep.
Two brave whistleblowers came forward to expose the political interference impeding an investigation into the tax crimes of the president's son, Hunter Biden. These are serious, credible IRS investigators who risked their career to come forward amidst threats from those representing the president's son that anyone prosecuting the case would be committing career suicide. And as one might expect, they provided substantial evidence backing up their testimony that we have reviewed and released over the course of our work to hold government officials accountable. In the days since their initial testimony, we have learned that President Biden wasn't just aware of his son's business dealings. He wasn't just involved, but he appears to have directly benefited from them. This directly contradicts what President Biden said throughout his presidential campaign and while being president.
Sure did.
We have learned about what can be described as the International Bank of Joe Biden, a lending scheme that saw special loans to Biden family members repaid with funds from Chinese executives. We have learned about a Hollywood attorney acting as a special benefactor by paying off at least $2 million of Hunter's tax debts in order to keep it out of the press at the beginning of the 2020 campaign. When confronted with this potential campaign by finance violation, an assistant U.S. attorney refused to investigate because, quote, she was not personally interested in pursuing it. We have learned that DOJ officials went out of their way to remove the mention of political figure one, aka Joe Biden, from search warrants. As Ways and Means Chairman, there are three major aspects that fall into my committee's jurisdiction. First, we need to get to the bottom of what exactly happened at the Department of Justice and the IRS to impede the Hunter Biden investigation.
That's right.
Did Joe Biden use his administration to protect him from the scrutiny? Second, the Biden family appears to
We just want to know.
numerous accounts, transactions, and loans to mask the flow of
Angie
money.
May,
If
Chris
these
D. Vance,
funds
good
were in fact
afternoon.
legitimate, they should be interest.
Good, Daniel.
There should be interest income reported on tax documents. Was such reported? Third, how did Hunter and his associates move money?
They gotta go down
to
for
shell
something.
companies that have been identified? Is there tax information that would help explain the complex web the Bidens created? Over the next week, the Ways and Means Committee will take further action to pursue the truth and follow the facts.
It ain't
wherever they
over.
may. We will be holding a hearing with the IRS whistleblowers to discuss the investigation as well as releasing additional material that they have provided.
More?
The American people expect no less. I am pleased to recognize
You damn
Great
Skippy
Majority
do.
Whip from the state of Minnesota.
All right, Tom.
Thank you very much. Robert Gates, who served as the defense secretary under President Obama,
I don't know if I want to listen to Tom.
2014 memoir that Joe Biden has, quote, been wrong on nearly every major foreign policy and national security issue.
He has.
4 decades.
Yeah.
That statement couldn't be more true today.
He has.
His disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal, to his failure to stand up to the Chinese Communist Party, to cutting billion-dollar deals with Iran. His blatant incompetence has been a slap in the face to our allies while emboldening our adversaries. Our House Republican majority was elected to counteract the Biden administration's failed policies, and that's exactly what we're going to continue to do this week.
Keep doing it.
Chairman McCall's No Funds for Iranian Terrorism Act, which will be considered on the floor tomorrow, effectively freezes the $6 billion, the $6 billion ransom payment Biden handed over to Iran.
I got you, Daniel.
This is a common sense bill that every lawmaker in this building should unequivocally support, Republican and Democrat. If you care about protecting America's national security, extinguishing terrorism, and standing with our troops who have faced relentless attacks from Iran-backed proxies, then a
Over
yes vote on this
75
motion
attacks.
Weakness invites aggression, and House Republicans refuse to sit on the sidelines as Biden's disturbing pattern of weakness on the world stage continues to endanger us all.
About time.
I turn it over to our majority leader, Steve Scalise.
All right, Steve. My man look good after being shot.
3 different committees that are relentlessly working to get the facts out about this investigation that's been ongoing for months. The one thing that you can see as a steady, consistent theme, where it started with Jamie Comer's committee, Jim Jordan's committee, ultimately Jason Smith's committee, is that every step of the way, they've been consistently going after the facts to try
Good
to
afternoon,
find
Mama
out
D.
exactly what happened with all of these web companies, these shell companies, that whistleblowers were coming forward saying it wasn't just about Hunter Biden, that ultimately money was going into Joe Biden's checking account. What you saw at the White House over and over again was a constant changing of the story. The White House has changed its story multiple times as the facts have emerged over and over again, and different.
Hope y'all been paying attention.
You see checks. You see more facts.
I have.
Continue to be released.
I've already
And
watched
as
this
more
clip.
facts come out, the White House continues to try to change their tune to cover up what really happened.
Moving the
As Jamie
goalposts.
Comer talked about, tens of thousands of pages of alias information still at the White House that they won't turn over to Congress.
Why not?
What are they trying to hide at the White House? Why won't the White House fully comply? So we're going to be relentless at continuing to get the facts, all 3 committees working through this impeachment inquiry to ultimately get the facts out and find out where all this money was coming from, foreign countries, ultimately into the pockets of various members of the Biden family to the tune of millions and millions of dollars.
And
So
millions.
this will not slow down. And in the meantime, the House will continue to do its work here. As the whip talked about today, we start a process of moving a few bills on the floor this week. Tomorrow, we're going to actually have a vote on that Iran bill. $6 billion Joe Biden negotiated to give to Iran. Now, let's think about
$6
what happened.
billion. Would it be?
This was negotiated prior to Hamas invading Israel, murdering Israelis, taking hostages. We see a ceasefire right now as more hostages hopefully get released. But in the meantime, Hamas still holds
Ceasefire.
hostages.
We're going to talk about
Where
the
does
ceasefire.
Hamas get their funding? They get their funding from Iran. Everybody knows that. The Biden administration knows it, yet the Biden administration opposes this legislation because they want the Ayatollah in Iran to get that $6 billion. Why would Joe Biden want the Ayatollah to have access to $6 billion, knowing it goes to fund Hamas and other terrorists?
Why?
We're going to be taking a strong stand to freeze that money tomorrow.
Freeze
That's
it.
a vote on the House floor. We also say, as more illegals pour into our country, millions more illegals come into our country, they're using federal lands in the Biden administration to house illegals. They're waiving environmental regulations that military veterans can't use. Homeless veterans cannot use.
Damn shame.
But they'll waive every environmental regulation to allow people coming here illegally to use those very same federal lands. And we're saying you can't use those federal lands to house illegals. That vote will be on the House floor tomorrow as well. So the House is going to continue to do its work as we relentlessly pursue the facts in this case. And leading that effort is our Speaker, Mike Johnson.
All right, Mike, bring us home, baby. Close it out.
Thank you all for being
Pulling
here.
the anchor leg.
These are serious times, and this is a very serious matter. And I've said many times over the last few years, because impeachment has been an issue that we've all become all too familiar with, that next to the Declaration
Oh,
of
especially with our guy Trump.
make an argument that
They
impeachment may be the
impeached him
heaviest
like
power that
we
Congress
wake up in the morning.
that constitutional responsibility lies with the House. We have a duty to pursue the facts where they lead. John Adams famously said facts are stubborn things, and you heard a recitation of that here this morning. These facts are alarming. They're alarming to the American people. They're
Yeah.
alarming to us.
Yeah.
And so while we take no pleasure in the proceedings here, we have a responsibility to do it.
I don't know about
Very
that. I
proud of
think
the
you
work
do
of
take
the
a lot of
chairmen
pleasure.
that you see here, Chairman Comer and Jordan and Smith. They've done an exceptional job in uncovering the obvious corruption.
Obvious.
Heard it here summarized this morning, very succinct.
He's trying to slip the FISA renewal in one of those bills.
Continue this process, but to do
By the
it
way,
methodically and transparently.
renewing FISA for another 12 years
I'm a lawyer, I'm a constitutional law attorney.
to spy on
I've
Americans.
Trump's impeachment defense team twice. We lamented openly. We decried how the Democrats politicized that process. They were brazenly political, and how they
I just saw that warrant yesterday.
against the president. This
Remind
what
me
we're
to tell
seeing
you
here
about it when it's
is
over.
exactly the opposite. We are the rule of law team. The Republican Party stands
Yeah,
for
pay real close attention
in
for
charge of
those
this, are
who
doing
haven't
this thoroughly,
seen this clip.
carefully, methodically.
Listen
They're
to what this
investigating
man
and
is
gathering
talking
all the
about,
facts.
because it
Do
hits
this
to the
appropriately,
actual and
and
the
to do it in a
factual, the
manner
substance
that
of
upholds our
everything that's
constitutional
going on.
responsibility requires time. It requires a sound process. You don't rush something.
Trust the process.
If you're going to have fidelity to the Constitution. These chairmen are committed to proceeding in that manner, and that's what you're seeing. We've heard from whistleblowers, Biden business associates, legal experts, and now we have reached the point in the investigation that we need to hear from a handful of really key witnesses in this. The chairmen have issued a few dozen subpoenas, and we expect that those are to be complied with in an expeditious manner. We're not prejudging this. We will follow the facts wherever they lead.
I like the
And
word
that's our
expect.
constitutional duty. And I fully support our chairman and their efforts, and we'll have a lot more to share on this in the days ahead. We'll take a few questions.
All right.
Monday.
We're not going to listen to the Q&A. No need for that. But, you know, we've been talking about this, Mama Mona, since I've known you, going on almost 2 years now. And it's sad we've been talking about it that long.
Well, I'll
But
tell you
we
what's
already knew.
what's really more alarming is that the Biden administration got a judge to sign a warrant to Twitter. In that warrant, it demands access to anyone who has retweeted, liked, commented on anything on social media, period, by the time it was through, including emails, including phone numbers, including contacts, likes. If you liked it and put it up on your page, it's going to be on that spreadsheet they're gathering from that warrant. You can go read the warrant yourself on the Benny Show, okay? Benny Johnson Show on YouTube. He put it up yesterday, all right? And he shows it all, but you can stop it, pause it and actually read the warrant for yourself. And it means that every single one of us who ever liked Trump for any reason is now going to be on the list so they can use FISA that they're really, really pushing hard to pass again, because it expires this month. They have to either approve it or it goes away. And they have to start getting warrants like the Constitution says they have to do before they can spy on somebody. So it's really bad. And it means that anyone and anything you might have said, any comment is going to be scrutinized. And we're going to end up like my Proud Boy here from Missouri, who wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th, but they locked him up for 22 years for something he said on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't there's there's really, oh man, I and at the end of the day, I guess it's what it comes down to.
Well, the thing,
I refuse.
okay, they have issued the warrant, okay, to Twitter. Okay, Twitter no longer exists,
No,
except it's X, and it's under the control and command of Elon Musk.
Right.
They may not get what they're asking for, but the audacity that they think they can put out a warrant on one person's social media and collect everything that's ever been posted, linked to, used, talked about.
Mama Mona, why does it surprise you? This is what
It doesn't
authoritarianism.
surprise me. It just seems, it just is unbelievable. I mean, you go ahead.
Mama Mona.
You
Mama
probably
Mona.
lock me up for a whole lot of things I've said on Twitter.
Mama Mona. Hillary Clinton and the DNC framed Donald Trump. What depths do you think they will not go to?
Oh, they got to keep this man out of office. My Lord, they know that Donald Trump has the backing of the largest armed military in the world. And they will not allow him to get in a position of leadership over that force, meaning us. Okay? They know that. And they know that if he gets into office, their heads are going to roll. He has the evidence on them all. Okay? Because everybody's life is out there in cyberspace. And the new Space Force, their total job is to look at what's going on in cyberspace. And he's got them all. And they know it. And they are fighting for their very existence.
Well,
and they're going to fight hard, okay?
Well, speaking of fighting and fighting hard, let me go. We're almost done with the clips, but we're moving on to the Trump era here as we wind down this broadcast. But to give you some insight on what a fighter is like and what happens, and for those who might not be aware that think Trump might be in trouble and haven't been paying attention to what's going on, let my man give y'all a little insight. Rowan, tell him what it is.
Yesterday, the ongoing legal battle that President Trump is facing right here in New York experienced, you could say, a bit of a twist. That's because the testimony that was given by an executive from Deutsche Bank, it appeared to completely shatter the narrative that was being pushed by Ms. Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York. However, in order to explain the significance of what this executive said while on the witness stand, well, I need to quickly set the stage for you regarding this entire lawsuit. As you may know, included among the myriad of different legal cases that have been lobbied against President Trump, you have the case which was brought forth by the New York Attorney General, Ms. Letitia James. This 200-page civil lawsuit was brought forth back in September of last year, and it accuses President Trump, 3 of his adult children, as well as the Trump Organization itself, of lying about their asset values when applying for bank loans. Quote, in her lawsuit, Ms. James claimed that over a 10-year period, from 2011 through 2021, President Trump and the other defendants had engaged in numerous acts of fraud and misrepresentation in the preparation of Mr. Trump's annual statements of financial condition, which included deceiving insurers, tax officials, and lenders by allegedly inflating the value of his properties, including his Mar-a-Lago estate over in Florida. Ms. Letitia James claims that this lawsuit of hers is the result of a 3-year-long investigation, and here's specifically what she is hoping to achieve with the actual case. Quote, Ms. James, a Democrat, is seeking $250 million in penalties and wants to ban President Trump from doing business in New York and from engaging in real estate acquisitions in the state for 5 years. She's also seeking for him and his children to be barred from serving as high-level executives at any company in New York. Okay, so the basic claim here being made by the New York Attorney General is that President Trump and his company, they inflated the value of their assets in order to get better lending terms from banks, meaning that despite the fact that these banks conducted their own due diligence, despite the fact that after conducting that due diligence, they gave the Trump organization these loans, despite the fact that these loans and all of the interest on the loans were paid back in full, and despite the fact that these banks themselves appear to want nothing to do with these lawsuits. Well, Letitia James still decided to sue the Trump organization on behalf of the banks, which, just as an aside, was actually the fulfillment of a campaign
That's
promise
about the
that
dumbest
she made
shit.
while running for Attorney General. Take a listen.
We will all rise up and resist this man, and ultimately we'll bring him down. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. And the day of Donald Trump are numbered. Lock him up. Lock him up. Lock him up. Lock him up.
Now, for his part, over the past month and a half now that the case has been a trial, President Trump, as well as his legal team, have been maintaining the position that these loans were negotiated fairly, that the interest and the principal was paid off in full, and that the only reason that Letitia James filed this lawsuit at all was for political purposes. However, up until now, everything in this case has been from the prosecution side, meaning that the Attorney General's office has been the one calling forth all the witnesses.
Wait for
But
it.
right now, it's the defense's turn to call witnesses, and that they did. Yesterday, Trump's legal team, they called an executive from Deutsche Bank to the witness stand, and this executive's testimony,
didn't.
well, it really called into question the entire premise of Letitia James's argument. Specifically, Mr. David Williams, who directly worked on at least one of the loans that were obtained by Trump from the bank, he testified that it's not unusual for there to be a discrepancy between the bank's assessment of a property and that of the client's. Quote, David Williams, who worked on at least one of the 3 loans Deutsche Bank made to Trump in the years before he was elected president, testified on Tuesday that it's atypical but not entirely unusual for the bank to cut a client's stated asset value by 50% and approve the loan anyway, as it did with Trump. Furthermore, there were several exchanges during the questioning phase which revealed something that frankly most people in real estate already know, which is that during the loan process, there is a natural back and forth between the client and the bank wherein the client tries to provide the highest valuation of their asset possible while the bank tries to lowball the value, and they meet somewhere in the middle. Quote, according to internal bank credit memos used as evidence in the case, Deutsche Bank, which loaned Trump hundreds of millions of dollars for properties in Miami, Chicago, and Washington, cut his stated net worth in 2011 and 2012 from about $4.2 billion to $2.3 billion when evaluating his loan requests. The same documents show that the bank approved the loans anyway because it expected them to generate a profit based on Trump's history of successful developments and other criteria. And then during the actual questioning, this Deutsche Bank executive, he said that it's actually standard practice to review a client's stated net worth and then adjust the valuation as needed. Here are a few short snippets from the exchange between Trump's lawyer and Mr. Williams. Trump's lawyer asks, quote, is the bank capable of reaching its own judgment based on the evaluation it makes of the guarantor's financial condition? Mr. Williams responds by saying, certainly, yes. Then Trump's lawyer asks about due diligence, to which Mr. Williams responds by saying, as part of our due diligence, we subject a client's asset value to adjustments. It's part of our underwriting process. We apply it to every client regardless of what's reported. The lawyer then asked, is a difference of opinion in asset values between the client and the bank a disqualifying factor to extend credit? Mr. Williams says no. Why not? Mr. Williams then says the following, it's just a difference of opinion. I think we expect clients to provide information to be accurate, but such financial statements are made largely relying on the use of estimates. And indeed, according to earlier testimony that was given by President Trump when he himself was on the witness stand, he made the argument that his estimates for the values of his properties, they included the potential value of future development as well as the boost that the properties would receive from the overall Trump name. And so that is the essence of the witness's testimony. These valuations are estimates on both the client side as well as on the bank side, and that regardless of what the client says, the bank always conducts their own due diligence anyway.
Okay. So, for those of you who haven't been following closely to the case with Letitia James, to put it plain and simple, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit, 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 bullshit.
She's suing on behalf of a bank who doesn't need to be sued. That doesn't
want to be sued. That doesn't want to have anything to do with it.
How can you? That's like saying you're going to sue somebody on my behalf and I tell you no, I don't want that person sued.
But
I don't think I would be very happy about that if I were the bank in this case.
you you got the judge though, because see, if you had a decent judge, he would have never took the case in the first place. But you can see this, the deck is stacked against 45, and we've already known this. And it's like going back what you was just talking about, the audacity that they would have to do that to Elon Musk is the same audacity that she has to bring this case, and the audacity of the judge to accept it. It's all audacity. I got a new word. It's the audacity of everybody on that side that that's willing to forget all logic, common sense, repercussions, because there's going to be consequences and repercussions for your actions. But for some reason, they're willing to do all this. They really believe that their end justifies their means, and they really think everything that they're doing right now is going to enable their agenda to come to fruition. But as you stated moments ago, when you have 380 million, biggest military on the planet, the American soldier, the American patriot,
the armed citizen,
by right.
Yeah.
See,
that's what makes us so different from all those other places, is that when they come in here, it's not like they can do what they did in Israel, okay? Because none of those people had anything to defend themselves with. But you try that, just like with Solis, somebody tried it and he ended up dead, okay? He only got off, 1-2 shots? So somebody shot him? The point is that you're not going to be able to just walk into Branson, Missouri, okay, let's say, and pull a riot, pull a furious riot. Okay, it ain't going to happen, because 9 out of 10 people here is packing a weapon under an open carry law. It ain't going to happen. I'm used to walking down the street or going in the grocery store and seeing people with their hip guns on their hip. In broad daylight, in open air, it's an open carry state. Okay, you can once again, of course, you don't want to do it because of thievery. I understand, because lawlessness is out of hand. But back when I was young, our firearms hung in the window of the pickup truck. There's usually a 22 and a 410 and a 30-30 hanging in the window, depending on what game you decide you was going to shoot that day. But they hung in the window all the time, fully loaded in our automobiles. You didn't mess with us. And there's a whole lot of folks out there that's waking up and going back to that train of thought that says, hey, no, you going to take my gun? You can have it as soon as you pry it from my cold, dead hands.
And that's the mindset that I see a lot of Americans adopting. It's I'm on and I listen to a lot of people's different platforms, and I'm not one. I don't advocate for violence or war.
I don't either.
Because I'm telling you right now, and I don't care what you say. and this is not saying that I don't want war. And the
Most of the young
the
people
only
today
people
have no idea what war is. Have
the
no
only
idea.
the only people that really want war are people that never been to war
Or that profit from it.
or that profit from it. Correct. I remember being on the tip of the spear back in 1988 after I graduated high school, joining the military. And the 24 around the clock feeling of uneasiness and sleepless weeks, and you don't want it because it's not a good feeling.
Oh, hell no.
But
nobody wants anybody who's experienced the acts of war would run from it. They don't want nothing to do with it. But you got these young people out here who've gone an entire generation in a land of peace, okay, to speak of. I mean, there was Afghanistan, but most of them never indulged in that. They never watched it. They never paid attention. You know, only those who were affected by their brothers, their sisters, their husbands, and their wives going off to war. The rest of the world went on by with all their beautiful things. They get up every morning, they go to work, they go out to dinner, they have the things they want, and they play video games.
Yeah, these kids out here protesting, they have no idea what concept.
Well, the thing is, what people don't understand about the protests, okay, is this. There's one thing to free Palestine. Are you freeing Palestine from Israel, or are you freeing Palestine from Hamas?
They're inflating the two.
But are the Palestinians, as they say, being used as human shields and things? Are the Palestinian people, or is it the government of Hamas? Who are you protesting to free? Are you wanting to free the Palestinian people from the oppression of Hamas? I can understand that. Okay. Or are you trying to free Hamas and make Hamas something big and to go after Israel? Are you seriously, Palestinian people, are you serious about your jihad, about the advertised jihad theory that all you want to do is kill Christians? I don't think so. Okay. But I think the protests are being swayed to one way when they really are another. Now, free, hey, Israel, go in there and free the Palestinian people from Hamas.
Well, people need to not focus as much on Hamas. And this is my opinion. They don't need to focus as much on Hamas as they need to focus on the people who are actually giving orders and running Hamas.
Hezbollah and Iran, I know.
Exactly. So what we need to understand at this point in time, like Joe Biden, Hamas is a figurehead. We have to understand one thing. Hamas is not going to go rogue. And when I say go rogue, they are under, and this is my opinion, they are under
the Ayatollah,
the control of Iran. And
they're under the control of the Ayatollah.
So they are not going to just wake up one day and decide they want to go rogue. No, because they know there's consequences from the higher ups. So we need to, it's sad because, and I'm not going to get emotional.
They don't put their enemies, they don't put their enemies in jail. They just kill them.
This whole thing is a game. It's like you say you're a football team and you're playing a game against your opponent and you say you want to win, but your quarterback keeps throwing interceptions, your running back keeps fumbling the ball, and your defense doesn't want to wrap up and tackle, so they're letting people run and score touchdowns on you. You're saying you're trying to solve a situation, fix a situation, solve a problem, but in the big scheme of things,
I totally support Israel. Hey, Iran, here's $6 billion to fight them with.
This is a game, and it's a sad situation. See, I can't be concerned and let them instill fear in me. God gives me discernment.
Daniel, it's coming in loud and clear for me.
Things don't make sense. Here you have Zelensky buying yachts and mansions.
With our money.
It's got to be our money because he's broke.
Yeah, they're doing it with our money. That's so that the Bidens can escape when we finally got their chicken. Okay?
It doesn't make sense. Our borders are still open, like you were talking about, with all of these middle-aged men. Here we are on a I'm not even going to say the precipice or whatever that word is. We are in it. We are in it.
Yep.
They talk about it every day. How
now they got the new pneumonia.
Now
they got the new pneumonia.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that right now. But how are we going to get hit here? And how the number one thing is when you at least can assess a threat, are you not going to close the borders at least temporarily until we can assess the situation that we're in, being in a war? And I don't want to even talk about the sneeze that is supposed to be made. Like I said earlier in the show, and this has to go for the administration all the way across the board because they duped us all the way across the board. Give me once, shame on you. Give me twice, shame on me. Now, some folk out there, some folk are still under the impression that Americans as a whole are going to fall for the dopey dope again, the okie doke. But you have to put everything in its totality. You can't have a mass of people disagreeing and hating a issue on one hand, and then the same individual presents them with something else and you expect them to all of a sudden change their stance on you. It doesn't work that way.
A leopard doesn't change his spots.
No. So we've been duped too many times by these people. See, and that's one of the things that scares me, because when you back anything into a corner, that's what scares me. When you blatantly are going to try to attempt to go against the masses. And when I say masses, I say possibly I'll give it 70%, and that's being generous, of this country that is, like you said, is wide awake to it now. And wide awake to the point to where they can say, you can't do nothing nice because
I think of all the people that was there on January 6th, if they had all been awakened to what we've been awakened to in the last year, I think things would have went down a whole lot different. Honestly.
Well, January 6th for Patriots, I believe, was some type of shock and awe, because those wasn't Patriots.
No, you're right. You're correct.
That was doing that.
It was to instill fear in the masses.
So when Patriot Nation seen something that was going down, because if you're not used to something, because obviously we're supposed to be rowdy and stuff at rallies and stuff like that, but for some reason that was the first time ever experiencing anything like that in a Trump event. But I think Americans were taken aback. They were stuck, because they were like, something is different about this. And from that day on, there was a type of fear that was instilled in the American people that has finally
and they keep that fear alive.
Well,
one arrest at a time. I mean, they are still arresting people.
And that's to go back to what I was saying earlier. That fear has subsided past, I would say, probably 70% of Americans, to where you don't want to back them in a corner. 30% is up for grabs. You got 10% that's like, yo, I'm not getting down. I'm just gonna suffer, and I'm gonna see what tomorrow brings. You got 20% that's like, I don't know, I don't like it. I might join in, I might sit on the sideline, but I believe there's 70% of this country that's like, dude, you can turn water into wine, and I ain't trusting your ass ever again. Given the opportunity, your ass is gone. And if something comes up to throw a monkey wrench into what I'm waiting for to happen, then we're going to have a serious problem. And I think that's where 70% of the country is right now. They're like, okay, come voting time, your ass is gone. Without a
And if
shadow
you
of a
steal
doubt.
it again, look at
But if something was to arise to try to throw a monkey wrench into the plans of the 70%, then we got a major problem to deal.
We got a problem. Yeah.
That's where I think we're at right now. That's where I think we're at, because you got 70% that's just holding on, like just holding on, like, okay, election day. Okay, election day. We getting y'all the hell up out of here. We getting y'all. But if something was to arise that was going to squander my election time, then we got a problem.
We got a problem.
That's where I think America is right now. Because
we're going to attempt to stick to our constitutional republic.
Yes.
And we're going to attempt to change the layout of DC at the polling place where we're supposed to do those things. But deny us the proper polling place and the proper ballot and the proper counting, and you got a problem. You got a problem with the largest armed military force in the world.
And you know what? As an American, that's the only right thing really to say. What are we to say when our rights and our privileges, our God-given alienated rights, are literally being stripped from us? Are we supposed to be the people, as other countries went in the wind and say, okay, I guess it's the bread line on Tuesdays, gas line on Thursdays, haircut on Saturday, in the house by 6. I mean, come on.
No, they're going to try to use the same thing they did in 2020, except just another version. They're doing it now. They've got it all out there now. They're trying to spread it everywhere. And they're going to attempt to use it again and do the same thing that they did in 2020. And it's up to us, the American people, to refuse to be led down that fairy walkway. Okay?
I'm telling you, 70%. We're done. We're done.
We're done.
We're law abiding. We're loving. We are
self-sufficient.
We're tolerable. We're arrogant. We're humble. We're passive. We're aggressive.
And we're God-fearing.
We're God-fearing.
And God-loving.
God-loving. Okay? We're Americans.
Yeah.
This is America. Home of the free and land of the brave.
And just because you don't see us out there, screaming and yelling and throwing Molotov cocktails and burning down buildings and putting graffiti on beautiful statues doesn't mean that we are a bit. I've had somebody. It's long story short, but I had a man come to me one time with ill intent. Now this man weighed about 350 pounds, okay, and he stood about 6 foot tall. And when I knocked him on his taluti, okay, he figured out that dynamite comes in small packages, but nitroglycerin can come in small bottles, and don't shake us. The American people are more like those nitroglycerin bottles. Okay? You can pat us down. You can give us all this cotton. But sooner or later, you're going to turn over the damn box and we're going to explode.
Hey, I was on a podcast the other day, and I was telling the audience, and I told them, and I don't know how it came upon me. But I told him simply, I said, you want to know what makes America great? Stay tuned. Just wait and see. You'll see why America is the greatest country on the face of the earth. You'll see why America is the freest country on the face of the earth. Just stay tuned. You're going to see what makes America great. You're going to see. Sometimes America has to be tested. Like all great fighters. Ask Ali. Ask Frazier. Ask New England Patriots. All greats at one time, 2 times, 3 times, sometimes ask Ali 5 times. You got to defend your crown. You got to remind people why you're great. Remembrance Day is upon us. 10, 20 years from now, our kids and our grandkids will be looking back at 2024, 25, 26, 27. And they'll say to their kids, like we said to our kids after World War I, World War II, and so on. That's what made America great. Those people right there is what made America great. The people who refuse to bend and give in to whatever powers be, foreign or domestic.
I posted a story on my Facebook page yesterday. You ought to go listen to. It's you might say like a poem that was written, and it's about some people trying to burn the flag and an old soldier. And y'all go listen to it, Ray. It's really good. It's on my Facebook page.
Daniel saying our people are dying while we talk.
Yes,
Yes,
Daniel,
sir.
we know. We know, Daniel.
But that's
And
all I
Daniel,
can do, brother. That's all I can do is
we're
keep
doing.
talking the talk.
We've got to get the word out there, because when the time comes, we need to be able to depend on that, on people that are enlightened and awakened. And the best way to do that is to awaken some. Okay? And the more we talk and the more this stuff is shared out and the more people share it on, sharing is the key. Getting it out there and letting folks know that these things are happening. Do research. I'm on YouTube all day looking at news, stories, catching up with people that are in the know, doing some research. Yesterday I was on investigatej6.com, and I was appalled at the things that have been discovered since the release of the all the videos. And I'm like, well, they started it. And when you see it, you realize they started it. We didn't, the protesters didn't start it. Not even the Antifa people started it. Okay. It all started with them shooting rubber bullets and throwing hand grenades, gas grenades, and killing and hurting people. Okay. You kick a mad dog, you just make him madder. And that's what they did. They poked it. They instigated it. They're the ones that are guilty of what they're trying to charge Trump with. They did it. The first shot was not fired from the protesters. It was fired by law enforcement. They started it. It was a peaceful protest up until that exact moment at 1:18.
Well, there's a lot to be discussed about that. The bottom line is as Mona said, this is I still sit back in awe. Find myself just having to sit back and breathe. And just breathe. To try to
everything happens for a reason.
To try to understand and comprehend how the country, the government that I served under, not this administration, but the government that I fought under, could go to the depths that they've gone to in joining so many other countries that have fell along the wayside through power, greed, corruption. I wish I could be sitting here talking about another country like we used to when it came to situations that we're dealing with. It was never America that we talked about in those terms. It was always America that we talked about getting people out of the conditions that we now find ourselves being under. I don't know what the answer is. Nobody knows what the answer is. But what I do know for actual and factual, we cannot continue to go down this dark road. There has to be, there's going to be a shift. How that shift is going to come about, how that shift is going to transition from one thing to another, nobody knows. I
somebody
pray
does.
it can be orderly.
I think it's going to happen because it's going to happen because God's going to make it happen. Okay? We just got to keep following the steps. I believe that our Maker's in control, really. And I think that there's something, everything happens for a reason. Everything. And instead of looking at asking the question, why don't you ask the question is, where is this leading to? What is the end game? When you know that the end game is for Earth to flourish, okay, after the tribulation, Earth is supposed to flourish. If you know that and believe that with all your heart, soul, and mind, you can rest assured that all of this that we're concerned about, it's going to affect us. It's going to make our, I like to call it bumps in the road. The journey's going to smooth out. The road's going to get smooth and straight. But in the meantime, we're going to have go over some gully washes and probably some big potholes on this journey. And it's going to get rough and rocky. But in the end, if we can just keep our faith and know that He's the one who's really in control and that it's all going to work out somehow, some way, then we can live each day with a little bit of joy in our heart that, hey, down the road gets a lot smoother. We're just on a rough detour right now. We're taking a detour down the road and it's okay because somebody's got something planned and He's bigger than me, bigger than you. And if as a Christian I'm not a Christian. I don't call myself a religion. Okay. I'm a believer, a faith believer. I believe in my Maker, and I believe in the power to control everything. And I like to live each day knowing that I'm in the back seat and He's doing the driving. And I might not like what I'm seeing ahead, okay, but I know that it's going to be okay. And we used to say in the convoy, everything's going to be just fine.
Well, people, I want you, before I close, I was thinking about this because I just want to make sure, and this is always the Patriots Lab's thought, the lab's thought. You have to consider Joe Biden right now as, I like using analogies. You have to consider Joe Biden right now as the front bumper of a car. Okay? Go with me a little bit. Joe Biden is the front bumper of a car. He's not the engine. And right now, the car is America. And Joe Biden has gotten this car into numerous fender benders with the front bumper. Eventually, the front bumper is going to tear away. But the engine is still working. What are we going to do to the engine? I don't know if a lot of people have thought past that. A lot of people are focused on Joe Biden. Crook, yeah. treason, traitor, or whatever you want to call it? Possibly. Money laundering, tax evading, selling us out, getting money from other countries? Yeah, I would say. But he's not the engine. So when Joe, the front bumper Biden, falls off of the car, and they go and try to get a new bumper to put on the front of their car, the car's still going to run. What about the engine? And that's what people have to start thinking about. It's not about Joe Biden. Although, as much as I wish it was, this is far bigger than Joe Biden and the Biden clan. So what comes after Biden's gone? Because, see, we think once Biden's gone, everything's going to be all hunky-dory. Happy days are here again. No. Until we eliminate the engine that allows this vehicle to continue to make its ways down the highways, byways, crossways, until we tune up the engine, replace the engine, this car is always going to run. Mama Mona, some last words before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I was just thinking about a philosopher by the name of Nostradamus. Okay? Just came to mind. Nostradamus said that the fire from that out of Greater Persia, out of the land of Iran and Syria, that a fire from the heavens would strike the man-made mountains at 38, would be the beginning of the war. He says that the war would rage for 27 years and 7 months. So go back to 2021, November 2021, and go ahead from that point 27 years and 7 months. Because giving the idea that you're writing something in the 1400s and you say in the new city, fire from the heavens will strike the man-made mountains. I'm sorry, but back then, them Twin Towers probably looked like man-made mountains to Nostradamus in his vision that he was seeing. Now, a lot of people don't listen to philosophers and that, but it's just kind of curious that he said the war would begin with fire from the heavens and it would come out of Iran and Syria. And he also said that the leader of those countries would be exiled to France. At some point, he was going to be exiled to France and he would return wearing a blue turban. And I personally watched when the Ayatollah returned from being exiled to France and returned to Iran. He got off of that plane wearing a blue turban. Okay? And it says that he also stated that it would be an alliance between the eagle and the bear that would defeat the terrorists, okay, or the people that started the war. But I'd like to know exactly when is 27 years and 7 months from November the 11th, 2001. If anybody out there can do the math. Because if Nostradamus is correct in his assumption.
2029.
Okay. Is it 2029?
Yeah.
Okay, what month? because it's 27 years and 7 months is
Oh
what he's
no. Okay, so you say how many? 27 years.
27 years and 7 months.
27 years from 2001.
Uh-huh.
So that'd be 2028. July of 2028.
Okay. That's when he states that the war would end and the world would flourish for the next 3,000 years. Okay.
Well, you know what? It's funny because I was watching, and that's 2028.
July of 2028.
I was watching one of these maybe people like you say, philosopher or somebody like that. But it's crazy because if you look at the time that Trump made his presence known running for president, and then after everything he's going through and gone through, and if he does conquer all of this, he will be he'll become president. He'll win in 2024. He won't get actual and factual until 2025. 4 years from that is 2029. So what could possibly happen 2028 of July while Trump is president? Donald Trump would have had a 14-year. People don't see, this is where my mind takes me when I hear different things. People don't realize Donald Trump has been in the presidential. If he is able to overcome and become president, he would have sustained a 14-year period at the accompanied levelship of in the presidency.
Being our leader.
From 2015, when he announced, until 2029, when he says bon voyage. But what will happen in that 7th month of 2028? It's amazing that you brought that up. Is it a coincidence?
Yeah, if you look up a movie called The Man Who Saw Tomorrow by Orson Welles, okay? If you go to the end of that movie, I'll never forget it because I watched it, and 3 days later is when I saw the news clip where it showed the Ayatollah Khomeini getting off of that plane wearing a blue turban. That's why I remember the end of that movie so well. And then when I seen the towers, the fire from the heavens, which he wouldn't have known about an airplane. He said fire from the heavens, from the Middle East, from the land of Greater Persia. Fire from the heavens would strike the man-made mountains at 38. Well, the Twin Towers set right on the 38 parallel. He was pretty damn accurate. And those look like man-made mountains if I was living in the 1400s. And then when he said that that would be the beginning of the war, and the war would last for 27 years and 7 months, and that an alliance that at the Straits, okay, between the eagle and the bear, okay? Well, Russia's the bear.
And we're the eagle.
And we're the eagle, and at the Straits is where Alaska meets Russia, just that small space there. And but that's what it says, and I'm like, you know, that's pretty damn accurate for somebody that wrote something back in the 1500s. But you go watch the movie, and they don't tell you all of that at the end, because that movie came out in what, 80, 81, sometime then, 79, 80, 81, right in there is when that movie came out. It's called The Man Who Saw Tomorrow, and it's starring the voice of Orson Welles.
All right. Well, people, Patriots, hey, it's been a great Friday afternoon. Remember, possibly tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, for Friday Night Liberal Smackdown. Depends on what's on the platter.
What is Daniel saying there?
Forced quarantine camps in New York State. I got to look into that. Mama Mona, as always, it's been a pleasure blessing us with your presence. People, Patriots, remember, keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing, keep praying for this great nation. And in the meantime, in between time, this is your man along with Bug Tussler, Mama Mona. I got my glasses on, but they were up a little high. Thought that tea was gone out of there. So, everybody, if you're out there and you're in some area and y'all got some of that white stuff, and I'm not talking about the Hunter Biden shit. I'm talking about snow. If you got any of that, drive safe on them roads. In the meantime, in between time, this is your man. I am out. God bless. Have a great Friday.